Hello, Jen here, and I have an off-the-board layout for you. This is also a layout that I did using my Wild Whisper Strength of the Season collection, as well as the Bloom with Grace collection from Close to My Heart that I got in collaboration with JennSmith. So Wild Whisper and JennSmith links will be down below, so you can go and check out these two absolutely stunning collections. I also created this layout for the Summer Fades into Fall Scrappy Inspiration YouTube hop that happened on Monday, and I just ran out of time to be able to get it all voiced over and done. September's been a bit of a crazy month with school getting back, and we're homeschooling, so it's, you know, a new routine, a new setup for us, and dance is back, and, you know, work and everything. So I didn't get the voiceover done in time and the editing done in time, but I want to leave the links for you guys down below of everybody who participated in that hop, because it was a really, really fun hop, and I just really love that idea of kind of scrapbooking this time of year where those, you know, beautiful summer days turn into those crisp, cool fall days. And so you can see I'm really working with two collections that have that kind of late summer and fall feel to them, and then I'm going for colors, and that is where my Pinterest inspiration came from. I was actually looking for my Pinterest inspiration for this month, and I came across this layout, and I did use it for the YouTube hop. So it ended up working out perfectly that I was able to combine a bunch of these together and saved me a little bit of time. So I'm super thankful that all of that worked out so I could bring this layout to you guys. And the layout that you see for my inspiration comes from a lady named Clarisse. And if you click on her photo, it brings you to her blog, which is called Minuit 12 dans ma scrap room. And I think she must be from France, but I didn't actually go through all of her info to figure that out. But she has some absolutely stunning layouts and projects in her blog. So even if you don't speak French, I really highly recommend going and checking it out, because she does have a lot of really good photos and step-by-step pictures that kind of show you how to put it together. So even if you can't quite figure out what her descriptions are, I think you could probably figure out some of her projects. And wow, she's talented. I definitely have plans to scrap lift a few more of her projects, so I'm so happy that I found this. It looks like her last post was from 2019, so I don't know if she's been doing anything currently, but man, she's got some talent. So definitely go and click on the link and check her out, because you will not regret that. So what I did to kind of start my layout is I really liked her watercolor splotch and the idea of kind of splitting the page in half. So I went ahead and did that on mine, and I just used plain white cardstock, so it's not watercolor paper. It does definitely warp the paper, because you saw I was using a lot of water. I think normally I probably would have used a spray bottle to kind of get it to blend and move and stuff, but I didn't want it to go all over the page. I wanted to kind of keep it in that general sort of center area. So I just used my brush to get the paper wet, and I'm okay with it warping the paper a little bit, and it actually does add a little bit of texture, because you can see on the paper where some of the colors granulated a little, and some watercolors do that. When they're true watercolors and true pigment colors, they will granulate, so it just adds a kind of fun texture. And so I started with some yellows and oranges and reds and pinks and let those all blend, and then I let them completely dry, and I went in and did a little splatter of purple and just a little touch of some purple, because these collections kind of have that almost sunset feel to them, where I've got a little bit of purples and I've got the yellows and the oranges and stuff like that. So from the Wild Whisper collection, which is again called Strength of the Season, it's a collection that has a little little bit of each season, and the theme of it is sort of not just seasons per se, but kind of motivational about, you know, your own personal changing of seasons and your own personal development and that kind of stuff. And I'm using a selfie, so it was a way for me to create a layout that had a bit of self-reflection to it. And I definitely think, for me, September really is kind of the new year. I know a lot of it has to do with just that new school year, but I feel like so much of our life starts in September. And so I tend to be a little bit more self-reflective, and I tend to be a little bit more kind of goal-oriented and thinking about future and the direction that I'm heading in. And so this collection was definitely the perfect fit for this hop. And then the other collection that I'm using from Close to My Heart and from JennSmith is the Bloom and Grace collection, which you can see right here. So it also has those beautiful fall colors. I know that there's a cactus and stuff like that in the sticker sheet, but the purples and the sunflowers and all of that, to me, is just very kind of summer fading into fall. The sunflowers they've all kind of bloomed now. They're at their biggest, and for me, they're very much a representation of those last summer days before fall fully hits us. So I thought that was a perfect collection to use. And the colors just match really well with the Wild Whisper colors. So you can see here how I was able to blend a few of the papers. I have I think I have 3 and 3 actually. So I used some branding strips, and I've used just a couple strips of paper. I didn't measure them. I kind of just eyeballed them. I just really wanted to have a bunch of patterns and color running right down the center of the paper, kind of separating the watercolors and my photo from that cluster of sunflowers that I wanted to put on the other side. And I think it turned out really nice. I love the way that the dark sunflowers right down the center kind of gives you a really grounded central spot. And so your eye kind of goes right there, and then it can take everything in. But I also love these beautiful muted purples that you get from the Close to My Heart collection. So I went ahead and pulled off the sunflower stickers. I cut that big one in half and kind of tucked it in behind a couple of the strips, but it also is in front of that one little border, kind of scallop border strip. I cut those scallops out, and then I just layered it on top of a branding strip from the Wild Whisper collection. So there's just a hint of a darker kind of orangey pink popping out, just so that yellow stood out a little bit from the white background and you could actually see the scallops. And so by having the sunflowers on top of that but tucked into the strips that follow it, it kind of adds a little bit of dimension, and it just made everything look a lot more organic, I think. And then I used some little foam squares to pop up a few of the petals on the sunflowers, and I also did the same thing for my photo. And so I backed that with some Wild Whisper paper and then popped that up. And then the quote that I'm using, I cut that off of the little cut apart. It's a bonus sheet you get in the journal pack with Wild Whisper. On the back of the advertisement card, you get a few little cut aparts. You can kind of see it in that top corner. So I cut that quote out, and it says, "Like wildflowers, you must allow yourself to grow in all the places people thought you never would." So I just thought that was a really nice quote to kind of talk a little bit about how I've been feeling lately and give myself a bit of a prompt to do some more in-depth journaling. And I'm actually going to do that on the back of the layout, so it's a little bit more private. I just want to write a whole bunch of my thoughts, but at least I have that quote to kind of give me an idea of where I want my journaling to go. And then I also added that little inside of the label. So you saw me kind of use the outside negative space of the label, and I backed it with some paper and then I stuck my quote on top of it. But I also tucked that little label underneath too, because I just felt like it gave a spot for your eye to rest a little bit in order to read that quote. And I'm going to put a little tiny title there that says Time to Bloom. And then I finished with some sequins, and that is it. That is my layout for this month. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. All of the links will be down below. I know I'm giving you lots and lots, but go check them all out. Wild Whisper, JennSmith, the links for the hop, and the links for everyone else who found Pinterest inspiration today. And until next time, happy scrapping. Stay safe. Bye.